Hey everybody, time for an update on the Chevy II and what's going on in the shop. I want you to see this. I talked in the last video about how I was going to try to fix the Ackerman in the Chevy II, and I want you to see what I've done, my thoughts on all this stuff and how I do it. So like I say, mine might not be the right way, but that's how I do it. So here goes nothing, okay? It rolls. It's on all four wheels. Everything's tacked together really well on the axle and everything. But I like the stance. Got a little bit of nose up attitude. The 2-inch axle made the steering and everything work really well. I got the axle from Ron Pope, as I mentioned before, and it turned out fantastic. So this thing had like full-size GM brakes. I think that's a Camaro rotor on there. These were like Chevy / Speedway spindles. I reused all that stuff. Being so I'm going to do the 6-week Rockies, I don't know what we're dealing with hills or mountains or anything else, so I want good brakes on all four corners. If I'd have put a drag brake on this with a solid rotor, I'd have taken a chance of overheating them, and I did not want that, so I stuck with the vented cast iron rotors. And of course I'll clean all this stuff up. I just got it mocked up to roll it. But Ackerman, like I said before, try to look straight down at this. I heated that arm up right here and I bent it out, so I got some Ackerman in it. I'd like to have gotten a little more. I probably could have got it a little closer to the rotor here, but I didn't want to push my luck, so I stopped right where I was at. What I tried to do is measure from the face of the rotor to the center of the bolt to get the Ackerman the same on both sides, and just went with that. What I will do, I'll get my arc droid done or put together. I'm going to make an arm. I'm going to make an arm specific for a Chevy spindle like this, so that we can get more Ackerman in it. I'll do a little bit of research, and I've got a set of aftermarket brakes I can bolt on to see how they fit. So on this side, same thing. It moves the drag link contact point out farther, which is just fine. I got all that stuff done. Got my shocks mounted. As you can see there, these are AFCO, like a street rod style shock. I think this is like a 5-inch stroke shock from AFCO. That's all I needed on the front. It had competition engineering through adjustables, but they were way too long. The mount would have been like 4 inches over the frame rail, and I didn't want that, so I got all that done. I think you can see this here. I took the block saver from my Lakewood bell housing and I put tabs on it to make a mid plate. I can make this work with the automatic trans, but eventually, once I get past the 6-week stuff, I'm going to put a 4-speed back in this car. Motor mounts. Heavy wall 3/4 inch tubing. I plated the inside of the frame to add some more strength there, but you got to remember, the mid plate is also keeping the motor from twisting, so those motor mounts will be plenty strong. They're doing really nothing more than just holding the front of the motor up. The shock mounts, I made them out of 3/16 plate. They turned out pretty good. You know, that kind of stuff you just got to put a little thought into, and I made sure that, like down in there on the axle where it's all tacked together, that the steering arm wouldn't hit the shock. So I turned it left and right to make sure all that stuff would clear. Got that done. Brake line tab, I want you to see this too. I got my brake line tab on here. I used a 90-degree bulkhead fitting in it, and what I do, you can see the slot here. I run my brake line through the frame rail, so it's not near the balancer or anything else. Like if the balancer blew up, it wouldn't cut the brake lines. So I run the brake line through the frame rail. I'll show you what I do on the inside. I do the same thing here up front, so I can run the line out of here and along this cross member. You know, I tried it one time to get it in this tube, and some of them that just that's too sharp of a bend, it won't work. So same thing on this side. And what I try to do, if I've got room, is I might mount my line lock on the frame like that, and then this will have a 90 in it, but that brake line will attach there. Then this one will go up through this hole to the other side, and then there's a port here that will come back this way and go to the master cylinder. Steering box. I had to space it out from the frame a little bit. I got it spaced out an inch right here, and I weld like this deal here. The mount comes in, it's got bolts that thread into the box, but you can't always get it to do that. This one I could have, but I had this mount done already, so I used it. I take a 7/16 bolt, figure out the length of it, and then I chamfer the back side really well, and then I chamfer the bolt and weld that, TIG weld that in there, and that gives me a nice stud. I did the same thing on the bottom to clear the box, but I had to space the box out to clear the shackle nuts and everything. Then I probably could have spaced the steering box back a little bit more, but I wanted it up out of the way. So I don't know if you can see this setting like that, and it doesn't have the full load in it, but I've got the drag link and the tie rod pretty close to parallel there, and that's what you want. So, and there's plenty of spring clearance, plenty of engine clearance, all that stuff works great. And I found this master cylinder down in my stash. I don't quite know what it is. I have to look in Speedway Motors and see. It come off of somebody's car that we redid, and I used a Wilwood master cylinder on it, and this thing was brand new, so I thought, what the heck, I can use it on this. My next step's going to be, like you can see, I got the seat thrown in there. I was trying to figure out seat angle location. I'm going to try to figure out where the steering column goes next, and then I've got to weld some little strips on the dashboard or on the firewall to attach my wiring to go to my ignition panel. So I'll pull that out today and start figuring out what goes where on the fuse panel, so when I'm ready to put it in, it'll go. So, and as you can see, I left the clutch pedal in it because we are going to end up putting 4-speed in it. But I think I lied to you on the rest of the car. The guys from Sick Week told me that the car has to pass NHRA tech. This roll cage, no way in the world will it pass tech. Basically because the main hoop support's back here. I don't know if you can see them in the window there. See that back there? It doesn't go to the top of the main hoop. So that stuff's all illegal. So if I was going to put a roll cage in this car, there's no sense in attaching it to the junk that's already in here. So I'm going to cut it apart and back half it. Fix the toe boards. I'm going to make aluminum removable transmission tunnel, so when I do put the 4-speed in, it's easier. The floors will be all steel, with the exception of the back. I'll put aluminum back there. Then remount the cell. I got to do that anyways. I got a new 10-gallon cell to put back in here, and I'll keep the trunk hinges and all that crap, but yeah, she rolls. So my next step's going to be putting it on the jig that the Vega's on, and then I'll move it back in this back room backwards and start whacking. So that's what we got there. Engine's setting out there. Kenny's going to come and work on it. We're going to try to figure out what it is, pull the heads off, check the head gaskets, like see what we got, see if it's even worth doing this with. Because I got a bunch of small block parts, we can build a better motor if we have to, but if this will suffice, we'll use it. Then I'm working on my core support. I'm going to cut out these panels here to try to get a little bit more airflow in it. Do a little bit of TLC on this thing, a little straightening, a little cleaning, so it'll bolt back on the car. This isn't the one that was in the car originally. The other one had a big old chunk hacked out of it, like in here. So we're gonna just try to straighten this one up and use it. But anywho, the Willies. Got the body on. I don't remember if I showed you that in the last video or not. I built engine limiters for it. They're down in there, those little chrome bars on both sides. We got that done. Of course, the helmet bars are all in it. All the other tubing that needs to be in it. I'm gonna call my buddy Jack Richards and ask him to come check it out for me to make sure it will 750 cert. So this should. I don't know why it wouldn't, but I'd rather know now. Then I'm working on the radiator. Trying to figure out how to mount the radiator in the back. I built a fan shroud for it yesterday and mounted a big Spall fan I had. So we're gonna try to get that mounted in there, and the fuel cell and electrical disconnect, water pump goes back here, lots of stuff. On this car here, what I'll do is I'll hole saw a bunch of holes in here, figure out how to make a nice radius there, and hole saw holes in there for airflow, and then I'll put some holes in the aluminum floor down here for air to get out. So that's what I'm working on this coming week, trying to get that stuff all sorted out, get the radiator figured out. I gotta order a expansion tank for it and overflow and all that kind of stuff. So then the other big project is the Vega. We're got the middle cut out. We've talked about that. Frame rails are fit in. These kick ups, these come up to support the A pillar. And what we've done is we've put a 45-degree angle in here so the header collector can go out this hole, because he does not want side exit headers. So we got all that stuff done and tacked together. Next thing we'll do is get the suspension. Got the rack mount from Rocky's car tacked back in it, and we're going to put the suspension back on it to try to figure that out so we can put these forward strut tubes that come and hold the shock up. That's the next project, and we'll finish up the roll cage and hopefully get her off the jig. So now we're gonna mount the engine in it. We're gonna put the seat, steering, do all the aluminum work, and give them a rolling car, hopefully. I've got a checklist that I use. I think I want to show you that. Maybe I have in other videos. But I got, like on this, for this Willies, this is the Willies checklist. I've got a worksheet that I use that basically says all the stuff that I want to put on this car, and I can go through and check it off. And I've got notes on this one of what box of stuff to look in for the parts we need to mount all this stuff in this Willie. So she's going pretty good. Everything fits. We're pretty happy. So long way to go, but she's turning out pretty cool. That's what I got going on in the shop. Just trying to figure stuff out. Appreciate y'all watching, keeping up with me, support me. Tell your friends, share this. Thanks guys, see ya.